on the Rock, it's your favorite show. Hope on the Rock, it's not really a show. The stories and songs, sort of a virtual show. The only place to go when you need hope.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Hope on the Rock. Here we are, July 6th. Can you believe it? It's the beginning of July in the summer. It's unbelievable, and it's pretty warm here in Toronto. So if I break a sweat, please excuse me. So welcome to tonight's show. We've got a great show for you this evening. Peter Halley, the one and the only, is here all night long. We're going to have a chit-chat with Peter, and we're going to do a little performance. Peter's going to sing a song or two and cast a spell on us with those beautiful, luscious, magical vocal stylings. So we can't wait to chat with you, Peter. And in the middle of the show, the one and only, her nibs herself, Tina Maddigan's back. Tina Maddigan.
You're hot. My dear, I'm stuck here in the closet with the AC turned off having a hot flash. What? I thought my mother always told me linen was supposed to be breathable. And it feels like I'm stuck to it, like I'm wearing a tent. Oh, it's the opening of the show. Welcome.
So, Tina,
back.
It's so good to see you, and it's so good to have you back to host Some Good News Wha.
Some Good News Wha. It's great to be back, and I look forward to shedding a little bit of happiness.
Great. Okay, we'll see you in a bit, Tina. Stay cool.
I will.
Bye. All right, so Tina will be back in about 20 minutes to share some good news Wha. But first, we've got a chit-chat.
It's time to talk to our friends right now.
All right, so this evening's guest for Chit Chat is the one and only fabulous, looking great in purple tonight with his lupins, Peter Halley.
Hey, Keith, how are you?
Hey, Peter, I'm really well. How are you doing?
I'm just digging those jingles. They're Evan Smith, aren't they?
That is they're Evan Smith originals. I
hadn't heard It's Time to Chat with the Chit Chat. That was great.
Oh, yeah, they're catchy, hey?
They're very catchy. How
Peter,
are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Great, thanks. I am not under the same pressure as you. You're obviously hosting a show, but also dealing with that Toronto heat. We don't have that problem here tonight.
Oh, how? Well, I mean, I've been asking all the Newfoundlanders every time I see them. How's the weather tonight over there, Peter?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's like 14 degrees, no wind, just one of those, crisp summer evenings, if you will.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. A crisp summer evening in St. John's. And folks who are watching, let us know where you're watching from. Curious to know if it's crisp and 14 degrees all across the island or wherever you are watching the show from tonight. So Peter, last time we chatted with you, there was a grand piano and there was some lovely artwork on a wall, and it looks like you're somewhere different these days. Where are you?
Well, yeah, the last time was at my house.
Yep, great.
And now I'm at the Masonic Temple in the main room, and you know what? Today was our first since the pandemic shut everything down. Today was our first actual event. Which was just sort of a private rental and a small catering. We had around 40 people here. It was a celebration of life. So we performed in the church and then came back here. So we've been staining and painting and just trying to make the room a little bit more, a change is as good as the rest, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. That's so good that you're back in. I'm so thrilled.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a very slow start, but I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel anyway. We hope to see people in here soon. In fact, we do have, if it continues being positive with our results here in Newfoundland, we have a show planned for the 17th of July where we can have 40 people for dinner and then the rest of the people on a Zoom chat. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that can happen.
I'll cross my fingers too, and I'll join in via Zoom.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Peter, we've had a bunch of Newfoundland artists and actors and theater types join us the last few weeks, and I've started our conversation with one question. I'm going to ask you the same one, and that's, do you remember, the question is, do you remember a time in your childhood or in your teen years, did anything happen that you thought, oh, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to perform. I need to sing. I need to act. Was there like a pivotal moment in your life where you're like, this is for me?
There were a few.
Okay.
There were a few. I never thought that this life of playing and singing and acting could be for me. Like I thought, you had to come equipped with all of these skills. And so when I watched shows, I was just like, I love this, and I loved live. I always loved watching, live theater, live music. I was always interested in. My family would have parties, and people would sit around and play piano, and I always noodled at the piano anyway. And my sister, you would take piano lessons, and I would be able to sort of imitate poorly what she played by ear. But I remember one time I saw a production. Our school, St. Bon's, was taken to Arts and Culture Center, and we saw a production of Oliver. And I remember seeing this being taken away by this Fagin character and thinking, oh, wow. I mean, and then I found out that this guy his name was Jim McGraw, and he was a guy I knew. He lived like 4 doors up from me. And then I realized that's Jim McGraw, of course, with the prosthetic nose and the makeup. I didn't know it was him. And it was at that point, the first time that I realized, I think I could probably do something like that if he can, because I know him from the street. He's a few years older than me. So that was one, and I remember reflecting back on that when I did get to do the first time I did Oliver, and I played the role of Fagin, which I love. I remember thinking back on that experience.
And that was at Holy Heart. I was in that production. But
yeah, the one you were in that production, right? And Doug Angel
is Oliver.
Doug Angel was Oliver. I think of him all the time, because a few times when Fagin had to grab the boy and look right in his eyes, I remember thinking, I'm frightening Doug, little Doug Angel.
You were so great though in that role, Peter. You were wonderful.
Oh, thank you. And you know what? I really love roles like that that there's no one would ever physically know it was you. I feel like you can really get lost, and any anxiety or fear or nervousness that you have is sort of taken away, way away by the darkness and the hiddenness of those characters. Another pivotal time was I went to school with the Huttons, Ronaldo, Ronnie, all of those people. And they would have family parties. And my dream was if I could go down and play a song and sing it at one of their family parties, because someone would get up from the piano and somebody else would get there and they'd sing. And I was like, they can all play and sing, and they're amazing. And I remember thinking that Ronaldo Hutton was probably the best singer in the entire world. And I remember being inspired by her and, her musicality. And in fact, the first time I ever did a gig was with her, a Christmas gig. It was when we were both going to university in Halifax, and it was I know because she gave me a Christmas book and said, "Good luck today." Mm-hmm. And we played and sang together. So the Huttons were really influential. And I remember thinking, they're doing it, I'm going to do it too.
Yeah, and you were at school with Ronaldo in Halifax. What were you studying?
I was studying. She was at Dal doing music school, and I was studying public relations. Did a public relations degree at Mount St. Vincent University.
Peter, I had no idea.
I know. That was my first degree. I was a professional student, Keith, for a long time. I was really trying to find myself.
That's incredible. So you studied PR first, and then, because I know that you studied music at MUN, correct?
I did, yeah. So I finished PR, and part of the requirement for the public relations degree was a written French and a spoken French exam, which everybody was freaking out about. So I went to do a 6-week immersion program in Quebec, and really loved French. So I thought, I'd like to study more French. So I went into a French program and went to St. Pierre for 2 semesters, did a French degree, finished the French degree, taught for a few years. And then I went to see a musical, again, another musical, and it was The Mikado at the Arts and Culture Center, put off by the music school. Dr. Cook was the director at the time, and I went. I knew Aggie McCarthy and Doug Jameson and a lot of people, Gwen Carroll, Arlene Simmons, a lot of people in the cast. And I thought, I want to do that. And they said, well, you got to go to music school to do that. So I went into the music school and said, like, what do you have to do to get in? And I spoke to Carolyn Hart, and she said, I heard you sing in the festival last year. And we are always looking for male singers,
Yeah.
And because, she did the opera workshop program, and, there wasn't a lot of males. And I at that time was, a tenor. So, it was like, we need your voice. And so I went into music school and just, I had been in a few other programs before, but then when I was in there, I thought, I love this. This is like, I was doing Wednesday at ones all over the place, like the concerts. And in my first year, I did a recital. In my second year, I did a recital. And, normally you just do them third and fourth year, but I was 10 years older than everybody else. And I wasn't afraid. I was like, I want to do this,
So you say you weren't afraid. Were you always, because as long as I've known you, I get the sense that you're pretty fearless. Have you always been fearless?
Oh my God, is that right? You know what? I'm always. I think that's a compliment, and I accept it as a compliment. But deep down, always, I'm fearful. Like before you get up to do anything, but something happens, I guess, that you just go and you do it. But no, there's always lots of fear and anxiety there about performing. And I hope it's good. And, all of those things. I think lots of people have that, but, yeah, I was fearless in a way of saying, I want to do a recital. I'll deal with the nerves. Now, once I say I would do that, I'll deal with the nerves after. And then the night of, I'm probably saying to myself, why did I ever say I was going to do that? But
it's the kind of thing that you like say yes to the dress, and then when the time comes, that's when the fear and the nerves start to hit.
Yeah. So yeah, I have fear all the time, but I think, I always have to have a chat with myself and say, get over it. Come on. Like, it's going to be, don't be angry at yourself after this is over, And
do you have that chat with yourself? Do you say, like, because I know for me, when I perform, I sometimes would in the wings just have to give myself a quick little, like, snap out of it or whatever kind of pep talk. Do you do the same thing?
Always. Keith, here in Spirit of Newfoundland for 24 years before, and you were with us for a short time, one show, I think. We always have a moment where we hold hands and say, we could be shoveling rocks for our living. We are really lucky to do what we do. And we say hard tickets, which really makes no sense. It was just our first show, but it's something that stuck. So everybody breaks off, and like Dana Parsons, I'll always go out and find her in the corner, and she's either like saying a little prayer or talking to herself, and everybody has their own little ritual, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I remember that, though, the show that I did, there was always such a beautiful sense of community right before the show, and you knew that everyone had each other's backs, and that's beautiful. So you say that you say hard tickets because it's the first show. So we have this photo. I found this online. This I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, this is from your first production, Hard Tickets in High Society. Is that correct?
You're absolutely right.
And that's you in the
I'm seeing
pole dancing.
Was that me on the pole?
I think that's you pole dancing. Yep.
Oh yeah. I was the character. It's really, really interesting. You show this picture. I played the role of Franz Cheeseman. And I had taught in the school in Torbay, and our custodian's name was Franz Cheeseman. And I always thought, I love your name, Franz Cheeseman. And so when we were writing this first show, I said, I want to be Franz Cheeseman, and I want to be the custodian. And that's what my character was. And he sang a song that I'm going to sing tonight for this show. Because
oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah.
It's weird. So Peter, I remember my Aunt Lisa brought Craig and I think my sisters to the show when it was down in St. John's Lane. I don't know how old I was. I must have been 16. And it was the first time I had seen a dinner theater, and I was enchanted. And come to think of it, I'm going to bring the question back to myself. That is one of those pivotal moments for me that I thought, seeing the joy and seeing all of you do what you do. And this is kind of a discovery for me. That was one of those moments for me that was like, this is what I want to do. I want to perform just like these folks.
Nice.
But that's beside the point. My question is, because Spirit of Newfoundland, you're saying 24 years ago that photo was taken?
Yeah.
So I'm curious. How did you come up with the idea of Spirit of Newfoundland, and like what was the jumping off point? What's the genesis of the company?
Oh God! I mean, how long is this interview?
I know. Give us the 3-minute answer.
Right. Okay. So Kathy Hicks and I are business partners, and I just remember her as the lady with the long hair and the big glasses on CBC. Okay. And I remember seeing her on television, and I used to play at the Stonehouse restaurant a lot. And she used to come down there. So anyway, she left her name and said, let me know where else you're playing. And so I called her. We became friends. We started chatting. She was hosting the morning show. I was teaching in the school system. And she said, what would you like to do? And I said, I would love the idea of my job is going to a show. Like I have a show and that's my job. I love my actor friends who say, no, I can't. I have a show. And I'd love to say, no, I can't. I have a show. Yeah. And so we did. We said, let's do it. So I got busy writing a show with Shelley, Hard Tickets in High Society. And we based it on like real history. Georgina Sterling. Shelley played the role of the operatic diva, Georgina Sterling. Queen Victoria was coming to visit. Michelle Doyle was in our cast. Sheila Williams, Steve Goss, and myself.
And there's Sheila sitting down, and Michelle there to the far right in the white, and Shelley, and Steve, yes, and there's Kathy as well, and
Kathy is there, and that's
in her gentleman turtleneck. I love it.
Yeah, that's in front of the Majestic Theater where we went first, and I mean, it really felt like we had arrived. We were doing a show 5 nights a week, and it was filled. It became a thing. People started coming, and we were like, "Wow, there's a lineup outside the building. This is amazing." And CBC did a show, did a news piece the first night, and it was so exciting, And Kathy and I just started to do that. We started an office in her basement of her house. We hired one person to answer the phone, to take reservations. We hired the Stonehouse to do our meals, and we served. We did the drinks and the food and everything.
I remember.
Yeah, we did it all, and had a ball. And we just thought that was it for the summer. But then people started calling and saying, "What are you doing for Christmas?" And we were like, okay, we got to write a Christmas show. So then it just created itself, it's just sort of the ball started rolling. And so I continued teaching for the first 2 years. And then when we became full-time, I just stopped teaching, and Kathy stopped her CBC job, and it became our regular jobs.
And here we are 22 years later. So anyone watching, have you seen any Spirit of Newfoundland shows? Let us know. What you've seen. Were you around 24 years ago when Spirit of Newfoundland first started with Hard Tickets in High Society? Throw a comment in. So Peter, we'll fast forward a little bit.
Yeah.
I was looking at a bunch of your photos, and Peter, you've done so much. I mean, you've done so many musicals and performances and concerts in St. John's. I mean, I think you probably have the longest resume of any actor, singer, performer in the city. And so I want to share with the group some photos, and if you could tell us what's going on. And these are specifically kind of like fun photos with costumes. So the first photo is this one.
Oh my God. You know what? I shared this role with John Williams, and we were Grace O'Brien, and it was the best little Christmas pageant ever. Loved her. The role is always a woman, and then we had the idea of a man playing the role as a woman, and it just added that extra fun to the show. I loved it.
I bet a Dame Edna Flair.
We just used to set the makeup gun on like overdone and shoot, right? And we had the big, she was quite the gal.
And this is another photo.
Oh, that was with Jacinta and Doug with Atlantic Light, and that was King Arthur in Spamalot.
And how was playing King? Because I'm sure you grew up watching Monty Python.
You know what? I some of my friends were really big Monty Python fans. I was not until this show. I liked it, but I didn't quite get it. My humor didn't quite go there. And then when we did the show, I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that I didn't sort of pay closer attention when I was younger. I really loved that show. It's so fun and rich, and the cast was excellent, and it was really fun.
Great. And we got one more photo, and all these photos are many thanks to your dear friend Shelley Neville. She sent them over to us. So Shelley, if you're watching, hey Shelley. So this is the last photo. So just tell us what's going on in this photo.
Oh, for God's sakes. Oh, well, that's an interesting one, isn't it? I think that is my most commented picture on Facebook ever.
Okay.
It's aerial yoga. And that is, I don't know what the pose is called, but you bring your feet together and it points downward, and it creates quite the optical illusion, I got to say. Yeah. So I will tell my instructor that made your show. She'll be very, very interested.
It looks like a great pose, though. Like it looks like you're like getting a really great stretch.
If anybody can do aerial yoga, do it. You get in the silks, and you can feel all your vertebrae sort of open, and it's a beautiful release.
I love it. And this is our last photo. You in another costume playing a different character with a different dialect that some people may have never heard you in.
Yeah. Oh, Mamma Mia. That was myself and Michelle Doyle in this scene. Harry. This is Harry. And he's one of the dads in your production of Mamma Mia. And I just loved, I can't even say enough about that show. I mean, that was, I think it's the longest run of a main stage show that I've ever done. And in St. John's, was wild that there were so many, and the audiences every night were so electric, and the show looked good. It sounded good. It was a great cast. It was a great, chemistry to work with everybody there. Your brother, Shelley, of course, and Michelle and I are just tremendous friends. And then Tina, and it was just great. It was so much fun.
And there's Tina.
Hey, I can't hear Tina.
Can't hear you, Tina. Gonna remove you. We'll try and get her back one more time, and then we'll come back to her in a second.
Yeah.
No, can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Oh God. And that was, Peter, that was such a fabulous show and a great show to work on.
It was, I think of it often because we rehearsed just across the street here, and it was so hot that summer. I mean, remember how crazy the heat, and oh yeah, here we are. Yeah.
So that's in the parish hall, I guess, for the cathedral.
That is, yeah, that's the parish hall, and it was really. Remember all the fans? We had to have all fans going there, and it was really, it was just crazy warm, and but we had a ball. It was just a great time. I remember the audience at Holy Heart packed right to the very back, and the excitement from that audience, ABBA is magical anyway. It just does. We run an ABBA show, and it's still probably one of our most popular, longest running shows. And the music just doesn't get old. People say, "Are you sick of singing that music?" Like, never.
Right? Never. But the cast, you guys were phenomenal in that show. So it was a treat. It was a delight.
It was beautiful, and thanks to you for making me help. Asking me to be part of it. It was just great. It was beautiful.
You didn't have to shave your head for this production, this Theatre St. John.
Well, Keith, I tell that story so often. Daddy Warbucks.
I don't have a photo of Daddy Warbucks.
You putting the ball cap on and using the spirit gum and it breaking and zigzagging, and I saying, "You have another one, right?" And you said, "Don't think so." And next thing, I just in my mind thought, "I'm going to be bald. I'm going to be bald." And someone said, "I have a clippers." And next thing, and I was bald.
I think Greg Malone helped to shave your head.
He did. Yeah. And I quite enjoyed the experience, though. I always wondered what it would be like to be bald. Everybody,
you've got a great head. You've got a great skull.
Oh, well, thanks. Everybody does think you are sick when you're bald, when you've never been bald. People look at you and say, "Is everything okay?" They think you're sick.
So you got a lot of attention, then I'm assuming.
I got a lot of attention. And also I didn't realize how cold the back of your neck gets without hair. That's a big thing. That's real.
Especially with 14 degrees in July. So Peter, we're here at the end of our interview, our chit chat. I can't believe it. So I've got 10 questions. It's a flash round. I'm going to throw you the question. Whatever the first thing that pops up in your head, just throw it out.
I'm nervous.
You ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Peter, what is your favorite word?
Oh God, shit. Can I say that?
Yes, but nothing worse than shit.
Okay.
What is your least favorite word?
Pus.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Oh God. I guess just God, these are pressure. Pure excitement. I was riding horses with my niece this weekend, and she was it was genuine joy, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" It just gave me, "Oh wow, nice."
Good answer. I had a photo for that answer. Well done. What turns you off creatively, spiritually, emotionally? What turns you off?
I guess just negative. No, can't. People that say no before you even get the question out. How some people just you're asking them a question, they're shaking their head no before they even know what you're saying, and that I just makes me a little bit upset.
What sound or noise do you love?
The water in the ocean. The crashing of the waves.
What sound or noise do you hate?
My dog barking when people come into the house incessantly, and I can't break him of the habit. It's like, rah, 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 and it's just it's really loud, especially in the car.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I always thought that I would be a fabulous doctor, but I wouldn't ever have gotten through medical school. That takes a really disciplined student. But I love anybody who comes to my house if they have an ailment. I always have really good remedies. That does not even nearly classify me, to go in that direction. But it's just my nature. I want to help people.
What profession would you not like to do?
I would not like to be a surgeon, like a regular doctor, like a GP. Surgeon, surgery, the risk factor is too high. We often say when we're singing and we're nervous, Shelley will say, if we fool up a few notes, it's no big deal. Think about if you were a brain surgeon.
It's true.
That is true.
Thinking of Fagin, the character, tell us one characteristic of Fagin that you can relate with that is like you, that you're like? How are you like Fagin in one way?
I think Fagin was he's a misunderstood character, and I think to his core he was really good. He was good to those kids, and I'd like to think that I get along well with kids, and I'm a helper. I'm a good person. I want things to be cool, but Fagin was far more misunderstood than me.
And how are you unlike Fagin?
I have a house, and
You're not a criminal.
Fagin is a destitute character. I mean, So I guess I like the comforts that of a home and things like that. I just wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't be able to live his life.
And then our last question this evening, Peter, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Well, I would like to hear him say, "Well done. Yeah, good for you. You've done well."
And that's what you've done, Peter. You've done so well for so many people in Newfoundland. And I, on behalf of everyone, want to thank you for that. You are a shining light for all of us. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Keith.
Yeah, and thank you for being a part of our chit chat tonight. But
I loved it.
You're not going anywhere. We're gonna head it over to Tina Maddigan. We're gonna do a little segment, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna sing a couple of tunes.
Okay.
All right, Peter.
I look forward to it. That was great. Thank you, Keith.
See you soon. Bye. Peter Halley, folks. Join with me in the love for Peter. Tell us in the comments, how much do you love Peter Halley? He really is, and I say it in every concert that we do. He must be getting sick of hearing it, but I never get sick of saying it. In all of our concerts that we do with Theatre St. John's at Holy Heart of the Arts Culture Center, before I introduce him, I say Peter Halley is one of the most giving, loving people that I've ever met, and it really is an honor to have him here tonight and spend some time with us. So thanks, Peter. All the love, and we'll see you in a bit to hear a couple of tunes. So let's get things moving on to our middle segment of the show. Here's Some Good News Wha.
Good news, it's time for some good news.
That is the first time I'm
All
singing
right,
this intro.
Maddigan.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, hello. How are you? Some good news, Wha?
Some Good News Wha. So, ladies and gentlemen, Tina Maddigan, she's back and she's live.
I am. We're live this time. There's no Boy Scouts tonight, so that's what was going on last week. But Keith, I have some literally hot off the presses news. I don't even know if you know this. Can I say it? It's on Facebook.
You can. Yes, go for it.
2:43 this afternoon. Mr. Evan Smith and Tiffany Pinhorn, you already have it! They welcomed a beautiful baby boy, and his name is, where is it? Oliver, is it? Oliver?
Yeah, Ollie.
Oliver Watts Smith. Oh my gosh, seriously.
8 pounds, 11 ounces, I think. Yeah.
And a natural birth. Wow, Tiffany.
All the love. Look at that beautiful human.
Seriously, oh, Harrison is going to be such a good big brother. I just wish them all the love. I mean, they're healthy, they're happy. That's it. Give our praises.
That's something.
I didn't know if you had seen that yet. I just saw it. What was this? It's a good news segment.
Yeah, it is a good news segment. So I'm going to throw it over to you, Tina.
Yes, right to me. So hello, everybody. It is great to be back. As you know, our Some Good News segment is turning a little bit into more of a public vein, if you will. And so we've been sort of posting online that if you have stories that you want to share or cute videos, because it's not just the amazing things that people are doing, it's the things that make us smile and make us sort of maybe forget that we've been in a bit of a quarantine and going through COVID. So if you have any of those, we want you to reach out to us at Theatre St. John's, or you can instant message me like this person did. Her name is Leah Desiree McDonald, and she is live with us tonight. Hi, Leah. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I know this is a live show, so I really appreciate you figuring out how we get on and all that kind of stuff, but you're here with us, and you are one of our biggest Theatre St. John's fans.
I am. Theater is my life. I eat, sleep, breathe show tunes, and I go to every single show that comes around here on besties with everyone in the theater community. I'm
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
so
I'm not a big fan at all. I know.
what's your favorite show that you've seen? The answer is
Oh
Mamma Mia.
man, it's hard to choose. Oh my word. Spirits and the Show definitely is up there. I've seen that 5 times.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Well, because
Theater St. John's Mamma Mia was a great one too, and Peter McDonald's Annie. I could go on.
Was amazing. Yes. Well, you reached out to me because you are a rhythmic gymnastics athlete at the Special Olympics in CBS, and you reached out because you wanted to give a special shout out to your coach. Do you want to tell us the story?
Sure. So I've been with the CBS Bright Stars. I've even got a shirt on tonight for 4 years, and our coach Brittany Russell is just an amazing young woman. She's really, really sweet and always very helpful. And since this pandemic started, she's just been amazing as ever, helping us to stay connected and stay healthy. She's moved our gymnastics practices to Zoom so that we can still see each other and practice our skills. And she started up Movement Mondays, which I just came out of and had a great time. It's a dance workout type thing for Special Olympians in CBS.
There you are.
Yeah, and I've really been enjoying that, getting to see all of my friends and work out together.
Yeah.
And we have a special showcase next week where she helped us create our own routines, and we get to perform them for our friends and family on Zoom. And it's pretty fitting that Peter was a special guest tonight, because my routine that I'm doing next week is actually set to a song that he wrote.
That's right, Seagulls. That's right. You said that. Are you excited?
I am. I can't wait. I've been practicing really, really hard for this, and I'm so excited to show off my routine and see what my friends have come up with. It's going to be a great night.
It'll be great. And I love that you sent us one of the pictures was of you guys sitting on a gym mat, and it looks like you're over a fire. And that was a time when I guess your s'mores thing got canceled, and Brittany looked on Pinterest and DIY'd this little campfire for you guys to still enjoy a campfire at the gym.
Yeah, we were supposed to have a bonfire, a snowshoeing party thing for the Kelligrew story, but it was too cold and snowy that night, so that didn't happen. So Brittany, not wanting us to miss out, made that for us, and that really meant a lot that we still got to do that. That was really awesome.
I mean, this is a beautiful story. This is what this segment is about, the Some Good News. It's just spreading some love and light. And a little surprise, we actually have Brittany here. Brittany, are you there?
Yay! Hi, guys.
I love how I got so excited. Folks, welcome Brittany Russell. Brittany, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us about CBS. How did you get started?
Oh, I got started coaching with CBS. I think I'm going to my 8th year now, so it's been a while. I wasn't involved with Special Olympics. I was more so involved with the sport of rhythmic gymnastics. So through that, I became involved as a volunteer with Special Olympics, and I can see that I will probably never be finished volunteering with Special Olympics. I get as much out of it as the athletes do. I coach alongside of other fantastic young women. Allison Lemond, who's on the front lines now. She's a doctor at our children's hospital, so she's a little bit more busy than I am. So she coaches with me. And this year we also have a new assistant coach who is a high school graduate this year, Emma Bennett. So she's also very busy. And together we've been able to adapt our program to an online version of sorts. It's not the same. We're not in the gym together, but it's a way that we can all stay connected and keep up on our gymnastic skills, flexibility, strength, and of course the social aspect of it.
And you start
Yeah, so rhythmic gymnastics is, I guess, one of the easier sports to do online because we can do some of our movements kind of in a confined space, and we don't use the beam and the bars and all that. We just have kind of handheld equipment. So we could do that in our own living rooms. But other sports in Special Olympics like bowling or softball, it's not as easy to do that in your living room. So a lot of the athletes who aren't in gymnastics kind of went from having all kinds of events on the go to nothing. So we opened up a just general exercise class every Monday evening to all of the CBS Special Olympics athletes. So we do a lot of like dancing and stretching and different exercises, just an excuse to get up off the couch and move and see each other and have some fun. So we've been enjoying that on Mondays.
That's amazing. Well, I mean, we're so excited that you guys could join us, and we want to wish you the best of luck because the showcase is this Thursday. Is that right?
That's
It
right.
is, yeah.
And is it just for family and friends, or is it something that you'll post online for people to tune in? How does it work?
Well, it's something that our club has opened up to the other rhythmic gymnasts in different Special Olympics clubs across the province. So it will be kind of contained to the athletes involved and their coaches and their immediate family members because, Zoom can get a bit crazy if you let the whole world in. So we've had to kind of keep it a little bit smaller, but I'm sure that the athletes will have their own routines posted online because they've been working so hard and they're so proud of what they've created.
Right. Well, we are very proud and thankful for all you've done. And Leah, thank you for reaching out to Theatre St. John's and sharing this story. And I wish you all the best this Thursday. And thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you, Leah. That's some good news.
That is some good news. It's so wonderful. It's that Brittany and Leah are building community, being active, and staying connected during these times. Hey.
Yeah, it is hard. I mean, I find even with my kids and things like that, that is the one thing that you miss. It's even just having I feel like my heart is fluttering because I can't remember talking to another person in such a long time. So even just talking with you or talking with Peter is just so exciting. So I love that I get to do this with you, but I love that people are sort of reaching out to give acknowledgement where it's due. And that was definitely Brittany. Some good news.
A big shout out to Brittany and Leah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I got a little treat for you now. Don't let me go so soon.
No, tell us a treat. I love treats.
Keith, I get my best ideas usually like a day before the show.
Okay.
And I got this really good idea that I wanted to try to extend the Some Good News segment to the public, not just be like, oh, my such, right? To acknowledge some kids. So I was like, well, how can we acknowledge kids? You know what I'll do? I'm just going to put this random post out. Anyway, I put this post out for if anybody happened to have kids that knew, oh, Canada, send me a video and I'm going to do a little mishmash. I got to tell you, some of these kids were so adorable and what their parents had to say was incredible. This one little boy, Cameron, he's a hockey player on Bell Island, and his mother wrote to me and said, Cameron loves to do things. But right now, we're all a little bit constricted. So working on a project like this and singing Oh Canada in front of a camera gave him something to really be excited about. And to me, that was some good news. So I put this little video together for everybody live tonight, and then we'll give a little shout out to the performers after. Enjoy.
This song is in honor of all Canadians. It is Oh Canada.
Oh Canada, home and dated young, through hate with young, in honor of command. Quand on brasse porter les pays,
Il s'est porté la croix.
ton histoire est une épopée.
O-X-Y. God keep
land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Come on. Is that not amazing in 24 hours?
Be just like,
Love her. Okay, so I'm going to give a special shout out to Alexander, Cameron, Lincoln and Parker, Molly and Gabe, Lauren Power, Corbin Brodniansky, to Addie Osman, to the whole birthday party crew, and a special shout out to who I want to make my best friend, Samantha. That little girl in the Canada shirt, I'm obsessed. Like, can I please have her back next week and just interview her?
let's do a spinoff. I think that's a great idea.
Adorable. Adorable.
Adorable.
And that's some good news.
Thank you so much, Tina. What great work you're doing. It's so
Thank you.
fabulous. Okay, we'll see you in a bit.
Bye.
That's Some Good News Wha. So, folks, if you've got any Some Good News, head on over to Theatre St. John's Facebook page and let us know. Give us a little holler. So, just so everyone has an idea of who we are and what we're doing, Hope on the Rock started about 7 weeks ago with a fundraiser concert over 2 Mondays, with all the proceeds going towards theater artists in Newfoundland that are finding themselves out of work because of COVID and local food banks. And here we are 7 weeks later, and we are still not in theaters. Actors, stage managers, designers, it's going to be a while until things are going to be back to normal. So we're going to continue Hope on the Rock, and we're going to continue to raise money for our local artists. So those of you who are watching, head on over to www.gofundme.com/hope-on-the-rock. You'll see the little scroll going across your screen, and any amount is accepted and will help. Anything from $5 on the way up. So if you've got anything, head on over and contribute to your local artists, because we cannot do this without you. And yeah, like I said, 7 weeks ago, we started with a fundraiser concert where so many beautiful Newfoundland artists shared their talents. And I'm going to bring the beautiful Peter Halley back on to share some music with us tonight. Peter, hello, you're back.
I'm here. I didn't go anywhere. I'm watching the show, loving it.
Oh, weren't those kids just delightful?
Fantastic. Just beautiful.
And
yeah, really. I love, actually, one of the little kids who was singing, she got distracted in the middle of her, yeah. Oh, Canada.
happens to me all the time.
I do the very same thing.
Yeah. And Brittany and Leah doing such incredible work. It's so wonderful, hey.
Oh, yeah, that was a good story. And Leah is a good friend and one of my private students. And actually, she messaged me this first thing this morning and said, "We're on the same bill."
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. You are.
Yeah.
So Peter, what would you like to sing for us tonight?
Well, I wasn't really sure. It was a dilemma all day. What am I going to sing? So I stopped on the road. I cut some lupins, and I thought, Newfoundland. I'm going to sing a Newfoundland song. And so when you showed the picture of Hard Tickets in High Society, my character Franz Cheeseman sang this song to the Georgina Sterling character. And it is Dolores Hines' Woman of the Island. So this is an homage to all the fabulous Newfoundland women.
Beautiful. Take it away.
Thank you. All alone she stands, staring at November through her window. Seagulls calling at her door, Same old river running to an icy sea. She's seen it all before, felt the cold Atlantic winds blowing, and the lines upon her brow tell a story unknown to you and me. She's had her day, she says. Looking back now, she's seen so many changes. She remembers early sunrise and the sound of a newborn baby's cry. And she knows what it is to surrender life and loving to the ocean. For she is a woman tried and true, always ready and never asking why. For she is a woman, woman of the island, as strong as the ocean, solid as a rock in a raging storm. She is our yesterday, and she is our tomorrow. Woman of the island, in you our hopes can be reborn. The hills are whitened now. Ah, there's something about a newly fallen snow. Ah, those seagull voices dying. Is that river running just a bit too slow? She's never felt this way before, never had the time to stop and wonder. In the November of her days, she will not see herself just letting go. For she is a woman, woman of the island, as strong as the ocean, solid as a rock in a raging storm. She is our yesterday, and she is our tomorrow. Woman of the island, in you our hopes can be reborn. Woman of the island, in you our hopes can be reborn.
I love that song, Peter.
Oh, thank you. I love the song too. It was a last minute decision to sing that one, not last minute, but just earlier today. And so it's been a while, but it's always nice to, it's like an old friend, you know, when you revisit a song. And yeah, I bet I've sung that in that particular show, probably, I don't know, 300 times, but it's been years. So it's nice to bring it back.
And I have to tell you that there's an album that Spirit of Newfoundland produced and recorded. What's the name of the album that this is on?
Even Seagull's Dream.
Okay. And I have to tell you, Peter, I know every word to every song on that album. However old I was. What year did that come out?
Oh, gee whiz, Keith. You know, I don't know. I think it was
like the late 90s?
Early 2000s, I think.
Early 2000s. So I was probably like 1920. And I remember listening to that album just on repeat. I love that album so much.
Oh, well. Thank you. You know, it's an old one. When people see it now, they say, how old were, on the cover, you know, how old were you there? As if to say, you don't look the same. But no, it was really fun. That was It was our first album, and shortly after that, Shelley and I recorded a Spirit Christmas album. But that was a fun process, just trying to figure out what songs we'd sing, and because we, a lot of them were from shows that we had done.
Yeah, no, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So is it still available to purchase? Like,
Yeah. I don't know how though. We have them here. Gee whiz, I should know the answer to that.
But we'll check back because I think anyways, it's a beautiful CD and I'm in love with it. I'm obsessed. So what's the second song? I see those Lupins down there and I just get so distracted by them because they're so gorgeous.
Okay, well, it was a toss-up between Old Brown's Daughter, which is on that album as well, which I really like. But I'm not going to do that one. Although I love the piano intro. But it's a song that I called Tickle Cove Pond. And it's a real Newfoundland story, and I love the turn of phrase. And I'm a horse person. I adore horses, and I was always a part of the Newfoundland Pony Association. And it's still a critically endangered species. And there are just around 200 Newfoundland ponies left. And the pony or the horse in this song probably would have been a Newfoundland pony that they were talking about. And where Newfoundlanders, always used these ponies to haul their wood and to do their gardens. And then, trikes and tractors came along and we lost a lot of the ponies. And so this is a story about taking a shortcut on the ice road, and horses are so intuitive. They know, when ponds are frozen, it's probably not safe, but then the owner says, go anyway. And he probably should have listened to the horse. Anyway, it's a beautiful Newfoundland song. And I heard Jim Payne sing it recently at Ellis Pugh Hall just before the pandemic. And it's sort of, from that authentic folk Newfoundland delivery of song, it was just beautiful. So I'm going to try that one. It's been years.
All right, take it away, Peter.
Okay. In cotton and hauling and frost and in snow, we're up against troubles that few people know. And it's only with patience and courage and grit and eating plain food can we keep ourselves fit. Well, the hard and the easy we take as it comes, and when ponds freeze over, we shorten our runs. To hurry the haul in the spring coming on, I near lost me my mare on Tickle Cove Pond. Well, I knew that the ice became weaker each day, but still took the risk and kept hauling away. One evening in April, bound home with a load, the mare showed some halting against the ice road. Well, now she knew more than I did as matters turned out, and lucky for me had I joined her in doubt. She turned round her head and with tears in her eyes, as if she were saying, you're risking our lives. All this I ignored with a whip handle blow, for man is too stupid, dumb creatures to know. The very next minute the pond gave a sigh, and up to our necks went poor Kitty and I. Now if I had taken wise Kitty's advice, I ne'er would have taken the shortcut on the ice. Poor old creature, she's dead. Poor old creature, she's gone. I'll ne'er get me wood off of Tickle Cove Pond. Well, I raised an alarm you could hear for a mile, and neighbors showed up in a very short while. You can always rely on the Oldfords and Whites to render assistance in all your bad plights. When the bowline was fastened around the mare's breast, William White for a shanty song made a request. There was no time for thinking, no time for delay, so straight from his mouth came these words right away. Oh, lay hold, William Mulford, lay hold, William White, lay hold of the hawser and pull all your might. Lay hold of the bowline and pull all you can. And with that, we pulled Kit out of Tickle Cove Pond.
That's so great. And Peter, you know you're doing a good job when I can see Tina back here too, and the two of us are just swaying back and forth, doing the Newfoundland sway. It's so beautiful. It's wonderful.
Oh, thank you. I love that. I love that story, and I love Newfoundland songs that really take us back to a time and tell those stories. And yeah, so it was fun to sing. Thanks.
Well, Peter, thank you for being with us tonight and for sharing your talents with us and for telling us some stories and just for being like your awesome self. So thank you for your gratitude and love.
Well, thank you, Keith. My head is going to be swollen. You said so many nice things. Great to see you. I love your show. Great to see Tina, and thanks so much.
So July, July, what's the date of the?
So it's Spirit Songs and Sauces. It's July 17th, and we're allowed to have two performers. So it's Michelle Doyle, Shelley Neville, and Brian Way on the piano up in the smaller stage, and 40 people in the audience. And it's also available on a Zoom link too.
Amazing. So folks, make sure you get your tickets. It's going to be an incredible night. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Keith.
All the love.
Bye.
Bye. Peter Halley, folks. Come on. And I've attended the Spirit Songs and Sauces on Zoom, and it is an incredible night. So much fun, so much learning about cooking and mixing cocktails. But the most important part of it is feeling like you're there with your friends and a great sense of community. So check out spiritnewfoundland.com or their Facebook page, and all of the information will be there. So Tina Maddigan.
Hello.
Here we are at the end of another show.
At the end of another show. You know, you're lucky because sometimes when I'm on the phone with Peter, the two of us get to talking, and before we know it, Danny has to put the kids to bed, and it's 4 hours later. But the stories that Peter has to share with people and the lives truly he's touched, he's an exceptional guest to have on. I'm so glad you're able to get him, and he was available because he's busy, even though we're not busy. He's so busy with Spirit of Newfoundland. So it was a great show. Thanks again for having me back. And I think we're talking about maybe doing a little kids segment, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. So folks, if you've got some good news, we're going to do a junior edition probably in the next couple of weeks. So any good news you have, send them our way, and Tina will do her magic with it.
My magic. Or if you have a kid like the little girl Samantha, I mean, just so sweet. If you have a child that just loves performing, or you can look me up, Tina Maddigan Mayor. I'll take any videos you have because it just inspires you and it puts a smile on your face, and that's what we're here to do. So thanks for having me. I love you to death.
Love you, Tina.
Bye.
Bye. So thanks everyone for tuning in this evening. A big thanks to Tina for joining us tonight live and her wonderful segment, Some Good News Wha. A big thank you to Peter Halley. A big thank you to all of our guests this evening. And a thank you to Brian Kenny for making us sound so good. Without him, you wouldn't be able to hear us. Last but not least, a big thank you to all of you for spending some time with us on Hope on the Rock. Head on over to www.gofundme.com/Hope on the Rock. And if you've got a couple of dollars, send them our way. And all of the funds go towards theater artists in need during these COVID times. We'll see you next week. All the love and light. See you. Bye.
Hope on the Rock, it's your favorite show. Hope on the Rock, it's not really a show. The stories and songs, sort of a virtual show. The only place to go when you